I feel like if you start with what we're doing right now, like a video interview, then you can cover all the bases. You can get the video, turn it into an audio. Then you have the audio version and then the video version on YouTube. And then you can turn clips. You can create little clips. Then those can be on the TikToks and the Reels, etc. Then you can transcribe it and then it becomes a blog post. So if you start with video, you have the most options to repurpose that content into the different formats so that it's available for everybody to consume the way they want.
It is time for Build That Podcast, where we will discuss how you can use a podcast to grow your business and expand your influence. I'm your host, Eric Rutherford. Let me encourage you to sign up for the 200 words to move you forward with marketing and podcasting, delivered right to your inbox each Tuesday. Sign up for it at buildthatpodcast.com/the 200. I'll also put it in the show notes. Now, let's jump into today's episode.
And I am thrilled today because I have with me Hani Mourra. He's the founder, CEO of Repurposed.io, which is an easy-to-use automation platform that helps entrepreneurs, coaches, and content creators maximize their exposure without spending hours publishing to multiple platforms. Hani, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Hani, for the last 15 years, you have been building automation tools to repurpose content. Just kind of looking through your LinkedIn, you did stuff for Facebook and YouTube, all of that leading to WordPress, podcast to WordPress, and an email. So what was sort of that impetus to start down this path? Because obviously it's been a path, but you had to have a starting point. What got you there?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a content creator, more on a video side myself, teaching video blogging about video marketing. And my background's in software. I was blogging about video. I just loved video. Even as a kid, I've always wanted to edit all the family videos. Video is in my blood. I'm a software guy. I'm also kind of a lazy automation guy. So anyway, one day it just occurred to me, I love blogging about video, teaching about video, but I want to build something. Like I'm a maker, creator kind of. I want to build a tool. And I thought, what do I do that's really annoying? It's frustrated. I do it repetitively. And back then it was my YouTube content. I would post a video on YouTube and then I had to go to YouTube, copy the embed code, copy the title, make a blog post, paste the title. And just why do I have to do that every time? Is there an easier way? Then that's how that's how I got into the automation repurposing. I wasn't even calling it repurposing, but that's how I got into the content repurposing, was building a WordPress plugin that would pull in my content from YouTube, automatically make a blog post, embed the video, and it just happened automatically. And that was the vision back then, I guess probably 15 years ago or so. And that's how I got started. And I got hooked from there, and we evolved into a lot more. But yeah, the beginning was kind of scratching my own itch of what do I do repetitively that I don't like doing that's manual, and that's not good use of my time.
I think that's brilliant, just because it is time consuming. It's repetitive. It's like any of those macros that you can create in Excel. It's like, or anything that you can do to save time is definitely a help. And it sounds like then that just kind of led you into creating Repurposed.io. So for everybody, if they are not familiar with it, what is Repurposed.io?
Yeah, so Repurposed.io is a software. It's a platform. It's a web app, if you want to call it that you log in, you connect your social media platforms, and then you create these recipes that you tell it where you want your content to go. Grab it from one platform and push it out to many other platforms. So that's kind of the idea. It's this automation tool that you can customize. For example, if you have a video on YouTube, you can have it automatically go out to your Facebook page. If you have a TikTok video, you can set it up to automatically go out to your YouTube Shorts, to your Instagram Reels. So it's designed to let you focus on one platform, kind of your primary platform, whether it's YouTube or TikTok, publish there like you normally do, or even audio. We support audio content as well. And then you set up these rules so they can automatically distribute that to other platforms.
That is huge, because being able to create a single piece of content, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. right, in terms of content creation. And it sounds like you've been able to bridge the gap between multiple multiple platforms with Repurpose. Was that the goal initially?
No, it's funny they say that because we don't like in any business and any adventure that you take, you have a vision, but you don't know exactly where you're going to end up. So sometimes you have to be really flexible. That's a lesson I learned early on. It's you stick with your vision, but also listen to what people want. So, for example, the first Repurpose was, well, even before Repurpose, I was building the WordPress plugins for YouTube. I made one for Facebook Live. I made one for podcasting. So I've always focused on repurposing content to your blog. And that was my focus. That was my vision when I started, before Repurpose was built. But then people approach me and they say, hey, we love your repurposing to blogs, but can you go across different platforms? Can you go from one platform to the other? And then I'm always like, no. I'm a WordPress guy. We do WordPress. And enough people asked me, and I said, you know what? Let me just look into it and explore it. And it was a big jump, learning curve, different team, etc. But that kind of said, I need to listen. Like, enough people are asking for it. And that's how Repurpose was born. But it did one thing. When it first started, it took an audio podcast, piece of audio, it turned it into a video with some moving waveforms and a background image, and then it published it to YouTube. That's all it did. That was, I think, 7 years ago when we launched Repurpose. It did one thing. Take an audio, convert to video, and automatically publish it to YouTube. So every time you publish your audio podcast to Libsyn or whatever podcasting host you're using, it automatically got turned into a video and automatically got published to YouTube, and the full episode. And that feature alone, once I saw that magic happen, like literally hands-free, that's when just the wheels started turning. I'm like, what else can we automate?
It seems like that would be the hard part, is sort of going from the audio to the video. But once you do that, then you sort of have the framework in place of what it can do. And then it sounds like you were getting a lot of requests like, hey, and it sounds like you've added TikTok, both on the starting with TikTok to Repurpose, and then repurposing from other video to TikTok. So it seems like whatever the next platform that comes out, you're ready, or you're at least looking ahead for it.
Oh yeah. We're already looking at, for example, Snapchat. That's something that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Like, we're always ahead of not to say ahead of the curve, but we're always listening to what creators want. So now we're working with TikTok, Zoom, audio podcasts, YouTube content, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. Like, we've got all the major platforms covered. And then now people are like, what about this? What about that? And we have an idea board, actually, where people can request features and upvote them, and we use that to drive it. But things like Snapchat is becoming more becoming one of the go-to platforms now for creators, for short form creators. So they're asking, hey, can we integrate Snapchat? And that's what we're working on. There's a whole Web 3.0 blockchain type platforms that we're exploring. Like, there's so many. Like you said, we have the framework where we can connect one, connect the other, and build like a recipe, kind of connection between them. Now, like, that's what's exciting, is that the possibilities are endless. As platforms come in, we're on top of it. We connect it in, so you can build an automation between them.
Now, you mentioned Zoom, which I would have not thought of Zoom. So is that like, even to be able to do meetings, to be able to do even like webinars, or even just like taking it even straight from conversations and taking it straight to the various videos? That's not a use case I had thought of before.
Yeah, well, we integrated with the cloud recording. So whatever you record on Cloud Zoom, that then it will show up in your Repurpose account, and then you can, automatically or manually, schedule that out, or automatically publish that to different platforms. So what people do is sometimes they take their Zooms and turn them into audios. You can take your Zooms and apply a template to it and publish that to YouTube. You can even take your clips from your Zoom. We have a clipping tool, video clipping tool inside Repurpose. So you can click a button, it loads up your Zoom. You can drag a 1-minute clip, apply a template to it, and push that out. And we're also working on a video editor for the next few months to come out as well. So you can do some editing directly on videos from Zoom, from YouTube, from TikTok. So it's becoming this centralized platform where you can see all, like, automatically your content populates in Repurpose. So you put a video on TikTok, within an hour it shows up in your account, and then you can do stuff with it. You can edit it, you can distribute it as it is, you can, if it's a long video, you can make clips. So it's becoming this hub for all your content, where you can manage and control where it goes and what it looks like.
Now, it sounds like then through this journey, which, is like, 15 plus years as you're working through this, you said earlier, video was sort of where you were. It was sort of your sweet spot. It was sort of a passion project, so to speak, in terms of where you were in the content. How have you seen that change between like where you were and where we are today? I mean, from my vantage point, I've seen some changes, but I haven't been as in tune for as long. How have you seen it change, and do you have any ideas where it's going?
It's changed a lot. When I was, even before I created software, I was teaching about video and video marketing, and basically YouTube was it. That was it. YouTube was your go-to platform for video, from SEO perspective, like discoverability, to just, being bought by Google. So again, your content will get discovered on YouTube. Everywhere else was just, it's pictures on Facebook, pictures on Instagram, right? And then the platform started pulling in video to kind of take in the market share, like the Facebooks and the Instagrams. But it was all like longer videos or really short, like, I guess, like stories type videos. So the behind the scenes, hey, what's going on? And then I feel like, I'm not saying TikTok was the change, but when TikTok came, I don't know exactly what year it was, not too long ago, they made a huge shift in, people are now consuming vertical videos, where back then vertical videos was a no-no. Like if you filmed a video in vertical, people are like, what are you doing? You got to hold your camera this way, right? Now it's like, if you don't shoot in vertical, people are like, no, I can't watch this on my phone, because vertical was natural when you're consuming content on your phone. Right? So the shift came where people have made 1 minute or less videos. And I feel like TikTok was one of the main drivers to make that normal, like vertical videos, short videos, and then everyone else kind of copied it. I want to say copied it, but they went on board with the short video. So now, in the past couple of years, people just want to watch short vertical videos. So if you do a video or even a clip of a video, let's say take a clip from this interview, cut it down to 30 seconds, make it vertical, that's content right there. So that's almost a new normal for video right now. What's working? YouTube Shorts, vertical video. Twitter supports it. LinkedIn supports it. Instagram and Facebook are pushing it for their Reels. TikTok, obviously, and then Snapchat is also a short form video vertical platform. So everybody's going that route. Creators love it because you make short content. Consumers like it because it's short. You just watch, 30 seconds to a minute. So it's kind of a win-win from an engagement perspective, win-win from a creator perspective. And at least now, the past couple of years, platforms are favoring short form.
Wow, that's true. I remember as I've seen it in the last couple of years where everybody seems to be chasing TikTok in terms of what they're trying to, the tools and everything to do short form. Seems like it's going in that direction. Do you think the video function is an addition, or do you think it might sort of decrease like written or audio consumption? Because that's one of those questions I've wrestled with, is like, are we creating more opportunities, or is it reducing other things? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell. I feel there's always going to be people who can't watch videos or prefer not to watch videos. Like I'm out cutting the grass or going for a walk. I want to listen to, my favorite podcast, or even just my favorite piece of content. I want to listen to it while I'm walking, right? I can't watch a video. I'm walking my dog, or, it's hard to watch videos. So there's always going to be the audio consumption. I don't think that's going to go away. Actually, that's even growing. Like audio podcasts have been growing the past 7-8 years. And I feel like they're complementary. And some people, if you want information, they're searching on Google and they're reading an article on how to do this, so there's always going to be room for written content, always going to be room for video, and just always like short form video, then long form video as well. Like if I'm trying to look for a solution to something, this 1 minute video is usually not going to cut it. I'm looking for how to do something. I search it on YouTube. So you need a little bit longer. And then I feel like audio is a lot easier to consume when it's long. Like an interview like this, my feeling is probably the audio version will be consumed more, or someone will put the video on and just leave their phone kind of playing in the background. So there's room for everything. I don't feel like it should be one versus the other. It's kind of a complementary strategy.
I agree with that, and at least what I've seen, and just the opportunities it gives. And so I hear different arguments about, is this a podcast because it's on video? You hear all of the foolish arguments. It doesn't really matter. It's just like, how can you get your information out there?
Yeah, I feel like if you start with what we're doing right now, like a video interview, then your possibilities, then you can cover all the bases. You can get the video, turn into an audio. Then you have the audio version and then the video version on YouTube. And then you can turn clips. You can create little clips. Then those can be on the TikToks and the Reels, etc. Then you can transcribe it and that becomes a blog post. So if you start with video, you have the most options to repurpose that content into the different formats so that it's available for everybody to consume the way they want.
This is really kind of a foundational piece right here that you can take and run with. And so so as people are listening to this and thinking through this, it sounds like it's best to plan on your repurposing strategy prior to creating the content, right? It sounds like you should kind of walk into it thinking, okay, I have the ability to create all of these different pieces. How can creators sort of walk into that and think through that ahead of time? Because it's harder after the fact to go back and do that. You can still do it, and you should, but at the same time, it seems like doing it on the front end would be easier. I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're doing that. We have, I guess you can call it a podcast, a show, a content marketer insider, where we interview our customers and they share about content. And then that one video is our content for the entire week. We post every day on every platform. And that's all came from that one interview. So I can kind of walk you through the process, like a high level. So we take the video. I mean, from the preparation phase, what you can do is some people do a lightning round where they ask kind of quick questions, or you can just have maybe one or two questions where these are like the golden nugget moments where I'm going to ask a question that they could be turned into a 1 minute, short answer that has a lot of value. So if you plan a couple of questions that those answers could be clips, that will help you, pull out clips, the short form version of your long form content. So prepare a couple of questions. Maybe a lightning round is a good idea. That's the preparation. And then I would say, keeping your interview 15 to 30 minutes is probably more than enough. You don't try to keep it short. But then once you're done, you have the video. Like I said, you can turn an entire episode into an audio. Like you edit the video, you cut out the parts you don't want. And then there you got audio. From there, the questions that came up, maybe the lightning round questions or those, kind of pre-planned questions, you can have someone go in, pick out 30 seconds to a minute of your guest or you or both talking, and then turn that into a vertical video. If you ask 3 questions, you can have potentially 3 clips, and then you can post those to TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, or, everything else, like the short form platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn. And then, the long form goes on YouTube. You can even post a long form on your Facebook page as well if you have a following there. So literally every platform can have content almost every day. And then you turn it into a blog. We transcribe it. We turn it into a blog post on our blog as well. And we embed the YouTube video on our blog. And then we send an email out to go to our blog, to read it, to watch the video. So I say they all kind of target each other, but it's all derived from one half an hour, 15 minute to half an hour interview with our guests on our show.
I think that's brilliant. And, for people listening who may not have considered all of this, right? They could be, maybe they're a business and they're thinking, okay, I need to launch a podcast. Maybe I'm not the content marketer in my business, but it's like this can be a pillar. This is a content pillar
Yeah.
that you can take and run with. It sounds like, with just, especially with a little bit of planning ahead of time.
Yeah, you don't need to go crazy and like plan like every single minute of the interview. Then it's not natural, right? Interviews are meant to be natural; they flow naturally. But you have these 3 questions that you spread out throughout the interview, or maybe you have them at the end, like a lightning round. It's kind of up to you, depending on the flow of your show. That will help you, at least you or the person who's editing can know, I'm going to go right here and right here and right here and listen for these golden nuggets. And the other thing that's worth mentioning is something I struggled with in my business is, if you're, when you're first starting, you feel like you need to do everything in your business. I was always the face of the product in terms of like the content and stuff. But, as we started growing and growing and growing, I thought, it's okay to have someone else be the voice or the face of the product. So now I don't do the interviews. When we started this show about 2-3 months ago, someone on our marketing team got assigned that role, and he does a really great job. He interviews our guests, he gets them in. So it's okay that it's not you, right? If you have someone on your team to do it, you're still branded Repurpose. In our case, it's still company branded, but it's going to be, sometimes it's really hard to do everything. You can't be the CEO, managing the tech team in my case, and sometimes managing the marketing team, doing the content. You're going to drive yourself crazy. So if you have someone on your team or someone that can join your team and has a good, a good spirit, good vibe that matches your brand, then, they can become the host of your show or your content. You don't even have to call it a show. You just call it, your weekly content.
I think that's a really powerful statement, because sometimes, especially as people build their businesses, like you say, you get attached to it personally, and it's like, oh, then it's this idea of, how can I separate me from the brand? And there's a whole lot of discussion on, steps in that. But I like that, of just being able to bring somebody in who fits the culture and give them that opportunity, and just delegating. That's a hard thing to learn.
It is.
I think but it can be learned. But no, I appreciate that. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I struggled with that for a while. Like I was like, I need to be creating content weekly, but I don't have time. But I don't want someone else to do it, because people are used to seeing my face, and I'm like, you know what? People will get used to the other person and get to know them over time. So it becomes, like you said, it's not about you anymore. It becomes about the brand, the company itself. And the more help you have, the more you can get done, and be more effective and deliver more value, especially when you're creating content. You can't do it all yourself.
No, that is absolutely true. There is just not enough time. So let me ask this: if a business has a podcast, maybe they are a solopreneur, maybe it's just a startup. I mean, it could be an enterprise too. We'll just kind of run the gamut here. What's the first piece of repurposing content you would suggest? So they're like, okay, I've got this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put it into another medium. What's the first one you would suggest?
Yeah, I'm assuming like we're doing an interview or even solo episode where you're sharing content. Like it's a longer piece of content. Let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I would say just put that on. I would start with YouTube. Put that on YouTube. Optimize for keywords, and there's tools to help you with that. Basically, make YouTube your go-to platform, and then what we do is I would make the clips first. Pick 1, 2, 3. If you can get 3, that's great. If you just get 1, that's still good. Get 1 to 2 clips that you can turn into a vertical video and post that on the social media, like the short form platforms, the TikToks, the Reels, the YouTube Shorts. Even if we have content on YouTube channel, and then we make clips from that and we put that back on the same YouTube channel as YouTube Shorts. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a different piece of content. It looks different because it's vertical, not horizontal. And it's just focused, because people will see things on YouTube Shorts and may not see it on your main YouTube. So they're almost like separate algorithms. So don't be afraid to do that, even within YouTube, but definitely across Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. And if you're on TikTok already or thinking about getting on TikTok, definitely add that short form content there. And then if you're on Twitter and LinkedIn, that same video. Like the beauty is once you make a video that's vertical and under 60 seconds, you are compatible with all the platforms. That's why I recommend it. Between 30 and 60, vertical, you can go Twitter, LinkedIn, Reels, Shorts, TikTok, and then, Snapchat, whatever. Everybody's compatible with those specs. So that's kind of a little, not a hack, but it's a good little tip to keep it under 60 seconds and vertical. And then you're compatible with everybody. If you do have enough content, then, 4, 5, 6, 7, interviews or solo shows, then I would kind of get those, convert them to audio, and then, get launched on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all of the above as an audio podcast. I wouldn't do it once you have one or two. Kind of build a library. Like we haven't launched ours yet. I think we're at episode 6 or 7, and we still haven't done the audio version yet. Not that we can't. It's easy, but we're just trying to build up that library of 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we can drip them as audios, and then we have kind of a constant flow from video to audio. But I wouldn't rush into getting the audio version out, and that's my advice. I would say start with video, then you can easily and quickly turn them into audios and publish them to your podcasting platform.
I like that approach, and I've talked with a guy who did that. He had like 16 weeks of content before he ever launched a podcast, and he just started it. He was basically 4 months out, right? From, he was 4 months ahead with his content flow, and he just began creating those podcasts. I think that's a brilliant way to do it and takes pressure off.
Exactly. Yeah. Because with YouTube, maybe they're not expecting content every week, or if you miss a week, it's okay. But I feel like when people get hooked to your audio podcast, I know for sure when I follow a weekly show, if it doesn't come out on Tuesday, I'm going for my walk and it's not there, I'm like, hey, where's that episode? You feel, I don't know, people who subscribe to you on audio almost expect it consistently. But on YouTube, you have a little leeway, right? Life, business happens and you miss a week or you're delayed. It's less obvious. But if you have that backlog of 16, a good head start of content, then you can feel less pressure in case you miss a week.
Yeah, that is fascinating. The expectation depending on the medium, because I'm the same way. I'm like, there are podcasts I look for most days of the week because I know they post on Monday or Wednesday or Thursday, and it's that it's that scheduled listening. But yeah, YouTube's very different.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. Like it's there. If I see a notification, oh, there's a new video. Okay, awesome. But you're less, I guess the expectations are a lot lower. At least for me. Maybe it's me personally, but I feel like with an audio, I kind of expect it to be there every week.
Just as we kind of wrap up, for content creators, businesses who are creating content, any takeaways you would like to leave for them in terms of maybe an action item, a bit of encouragement? Would just love to kind of give you the floor for a call out for that.
Yeah, I feel if you're getting started and the idea of doing long content interviews, it feels daunting. Like, well, where am I going to get the guests, or what am I going to say? And then start with short form content. Let's focus on just 30 seconds to a minute of sharing one tip or one piece of value, teach something small, and start getting in the habit of recording, 1 or 2 a week and publishing those to the TikToks, the Reels, etc. So it's kind of a blessing. The short form video is actually a blessing in a way that it helps you it has to be, good content, but it doesn't have to be as scripted, or as preparation is not as high as an interview like we're doing now, and then finding guests, etc. So if you're starting with content, you don't have anything, now is actually a good time to be making short form videos. Just start with short, pick your favorite platform, whether it's YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Reels, upload there, and then, you can take that same video and put it everywhere else. You can use Repurposed or do it manually. It doesn't matter. But the idea is once you make that content, it's compatible with all other platforms.
No, I love that. And like you say, it's getting into that habit and getting comfortable just hitting record and uploading, and because there's definitely a mindset shift there of, okay, I need to get comfortable doing it and get into the habit of doing it. But I appreciate the discussion on short form, just because it sounds like there is less pressure on short form for it to be, perfect, so to speak, than longer pieces.
Yeah, and the short form is almost like it's not always like this, but it's like behind the scenes, natural, real. I know it's not real. You're still scripting it in your head, but it's okay to make mistakes and just more authentic than something that's planned and fully scripted. And no one likes that anymore these days, right? People want to see your business, something behind the scenes, or some tip. If you're a real estate agent, you're out, you could just fire up your phone and have a house behind you and talk about, hey, here's a quick tip, list your house in the spring or something, whatever, like something visually appealing with some nice background if you're out in the field, and then share one piece of tip and just keep it real, but valuable as well.
No, I think that I love that. So as we wrap up here, if listeners want to know more about you, more about repurposed.io, where would you like them to go?
Yeah, you can check out repurposed.io, and you can try it for free and kind of set up your social media accounts and repurpose content there. And then we also have actually a content repurposing, kind of what I talked about earlier. It's actually a free guide that you can download. I think it's I wasn't prepared to share this, but I believe it's at repurpose.io/guide. I'm pretty sure it's there. But we'll double check that. But yeah, it's basically a free PDF that will walk you through. If you're starting with video content, long form, here's how you repurpose it. If you're starting with short form, here's what we recommend. If you're starting with audio, here's what we recommend. So kind of 3 different starting points and where to put that content.
Excellent. So I'll make sure the website, repurpose.io, is in the show notes. I'll track down the guide. We'll put that link there as well. Definitely check this out, because it is a powerful tool to be able to take individual pieces of content and just fill your content calendar. So, Hani, thank you so much for chatting today. This has been a fun conversation. I've learned a ton. I know the audience has as well.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me here. And yeah, it's my favorite topic to geek out on. So really appreciate it.
Make sure to sign up for the 200 at buildthatpodcast.com/the 200 and receive 200 words every Tuesday to move you forward with marketing and podcasting, delivered right to your inbox. Lastly, if you have questions or comments, you can find me on LinkedIn at Eric Rutherford, DM me on Twitter at rfordej, or email me at eric@straightforwardmg.com. Remember, use podcasts to grow your business and expand your influence.